Hey guys, what's happening? Yes, sir, I fell asleep at the wheel today, and we all know how dangerous that could be. We're not as lucky as Clark Griswold in the Vacation movie. He can drive down the road, sleep, and all of a sudden wake up parked in a parking spot in the hotel. No, we don't have that kind of luck. But it's something that it happens. It's not the first time that it's happened to me, but it's the first time it's been this bad. And it wasn't really due to lack of sleep. It's I had to take a muscle relaxer because I had a back spasm, and I had no idea it was gonna knock me out the way it did, but it knocked me completely out. And it wasn't until somebody had accidentally called me on Skype that woke me up, and I didn't even know what was going on. That's how out of it I was. The Skype was ringing and I didn't know what that was. And I was like confused and trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And it was a mess, you know. And I'm pretty sure I look just like I did in this picture. Now this picture is back from back in my old Warrior trading days when I was a moderator there. And I'd fall asleep all the time in the afternoon because it just wasn't anything going on. But I've since overcomplicated everything. I've got twice as many screens and I'm doing twice as much. But it's a little bit crazy. But it's a big debate because a lot of successful people, really, really successful people, will tell you they don't sleep 8 hours a day. They feel like sleeping 8 hours a day is like wasting a third of your life. It's like they'll sleep 3 to 4 hours and then they may get a power nap once or twice in the middle of the day when they have a downtime. But they're they they say that you have to be. It's like success is not a comfortable procedure. It's very uncomfortable to become successful, and that you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, and it's a toss up. My wife fusses at me because I don't get enough sleep, and I don't know. But today, I guess it caught up with me, and you know, I'm about to show you the result. All right. Well, let's do the good news first. All right, I did recap this CRWD yesterday, and when I did the video, I still had one order out there that at 150, and right after we got off, it hit. Believe it or not, it hit, and so I was out. So we locked in everything yesterday, and so let's see, we locked in $8,026.61 on this CRWD. And this is what it looks like. Um, what we got in Monday. I showed you guys that entry on Monday. And here's what we did. Two of them hit intraday, and then the last two hit aftermarket. TraderView doesn't show aftermarket movement, but that's where they hit. And this actually looks like earnings were reported yesterday. That's what it looks like, but it didn't. We just woke up this morning to a gap, yesterday morning to a gap up, and it just kept going from there. So, this is it was an amazing trade, and this isn't the only one like this we've done. We've done several over the course of last month. We're looking for more, and you only need to do one a week. I only need to find one a week. If I find two, great. But I only focused on one this week, and I could have done DOCU, which was another one that was incredible. It was on our watch list, but we're as long as the market is working with us, we're gonna make some money. And when the market goes into its hiatus, like it normally does every now and then we know to scale back. We know what other strategies we can trade to kind of make some money. So, everything is clicking right along. Like I said, I said at the beginning of last quarter, I'm going to focus more on swing trading because you can make some really good money. And a lot of guys, they're more comfortable doing that. And so we're kind of focusing on that a little bit more this year. So that was CRWD. I came into this morning, I was happy, and full disclosure, this was an earnings trade, right? A pre-earnings trade. Everything was setting up for me to take this going into earnings today. It sold off like I like to see it do. All the numbers look good, the guidance looked good, and when they reported, the numbers were better, and the guidance was better. But you'll see in a minute, it just didn't work. But that's trading. But I wanted to tell you that before we got to the day trade I did on CRWD. All right, so MSFT, this was another trade I took, day trade. Um, and I was looking for this to explode. I was really looking for it to explode. So this first entry, we had a really nice candle. This thing was ripping. It came within about 15 cents of my first target. And it seemed like around 231.80, it just ran into a lot of resistance. And if you were in the chat room, you were listening, I was telling you so you could see how it looks when a stock is running into resistance. And you didn't even have to look at time and sales. You didn't have to look at level 2. All you had to do was look at the candlestick. That tells you everything you need to know. That's why I always say the best indicator is going to be your eyes because that tells you the story. And so you could see the infighting going on. And that's why I said if we get back up over, 231.80 again, I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take 2/3 off and then see where we go. It never got back up there and ended up selling back off. This could have easily been a profitable trade. I think I was up over 200 bucks at one time. But I don't watch my P&L, so I only figure this out and when I do my reflection. But you could see it was a really nice move up, but ended up getting stopped out. And this was a technical breakdown. It wasn't a max loss stop, as you'll see when we look at the P&L, but it was just a technical stop. I have two stops, technical and max loss. Max loss is just there to protect us in case the stock gets away from us, and the technical is the one that tells us the trade is dead. The trade plan is no good. So this was a technical stop here. Then I tried later on. I waited until we got and we were making another high. I felt this time it was going to go. I got in. This move was even weaker than this. And so once it came all the way back, I just took it off. I didn't even let it work. I mean, it did get up a little bit here. It just never made it to where I wanted to take profit either way. So this was kind of another technical stop here, and we were done with it. So Microsoft, I I thought it would be more hyped up, and you have more people buying, thinking that this is going to run like Apple did, um, because they're looking to buy TikTok and they're going in with, I guess some other names are involved, but That's what I get for assuming. But I did trade it smartly. The setup did occur, so I didn't force the setup. It just didn't give me the follow through I was looking for. All right, so CRWD this morning, I was looking for it to sell off. That's exactly what we got. Beautiful trade, opening range breakdown. Yes, I shorted in the red to green, but this typically doesn't act as support this early. It doesn't. And so I got in on this and started taking profit, started locking in. And you can see the windows opened up for me taking profit as this thing started selling off because I didn't expect the move to be this strong. If I did, I would have waited and started taking profit a lot later. But you never notice going into the trade. But that was a beautiful trade. The last piece got hit here for a profit stop. Then I waited for it to set up again. I got short on the um, continuation on this rejection, and I was looking for it to retest this. But you could see this is kind of where it got stuck. And if you go back and look at these three candles, the bodies pretty much closed and open on this level. So this tells me this is serious intraday support. And it proved itself right here. So once it bounced and it couldn't get through it, I took it off. But this is where I kind of made a mistake here. I was trying to put in my profit target and I accidentally added 150 shares to this. And so I was in 450 shares, a lot more than I wanted to be in on a stock with this much volatility. So that's why it was kind of a short hit right here. I was in too high and I wanted to lock in some profit where it made sense. But then that was that. It turned around and stopped me out, break even. So I was done with that. But then later on, I waited and waited and waited. And again, my whole purpose, my whole goal on this was in my swing account, get in this going into earnings, take some profit after market, and then leave a piece on overnight. See if we can keep this ball rolling. That was the plan. The chart, everything looked good. But here I was waiting, continuing to wait on these day trades. I was wanting to buy it on the break of this channel right here. So it topped once, it pulled back, and I was waiting and waiting, and this is kind of when I had taken the medicine. And I don't know if I clicked this consciously or right when I went to sleep I clicked it. I would have been waiting for this to close above this level and then give me a trigger to enter. But whatever the case was, I entered here. And I mean, it's not a bad entry. This was an aggressive entry, but I would not want to be aggressive this late in the day. I would have wanted to wait for this to close above this level and then get a confirmation candle. If not, I would have stayed out of the trade and I wouldn't have been in all this. However, I would have bought this going into the close because this is exactly what I wanted to see on a stock that's going to gap up when earnings are announced. That's what I see most of the time on these stocks to gap up. That's the chart pattern that I want to see when this is happening. But I didn't see it. I mean, I did see it. So that's kind of what kept me in this trade. Now, what happened was I fell asleep. I was asleep through all of this. Okay. And the Skype call woke me up. Like I said, somebody calling. I didn't know what it was. I was confused. I had to go wash my face, come back, and say, okay, look, I'm going to trade this going into earnings anyway. Everything that I've got is pointing toward this gapping up. So let's just hold on to this and wait for the move. And that's what I did. earnings was announced. They beat on earnings and revenue, which is no big deal, but they beat on the guidance and they had good guidance going forward. The guidance is what typically moves the stock. It did not move it. There was a fight again. And if you were in chat, I pointed it out again. There was an infighting here when this stuff was announced. And this thing could go either way. Now, yeah, I could have bailed on this up here and took it off for, losing $100 or so. But I, my goal, and I was willing to take the risk for the move up, and it didn't happen. So nothing we do is 100% foolproof. There's always that chance, and you're always going to have one or two, sometimes three, not go your way. And if you do what you're supposed to do, you can eat it up. So worst case scenario, if this doesn't go in the morning, I'll just end up having to give half of my earnings back on CRWD. I'll still take 4 grand. I'm not going to complain about it. But I would much rather have this been a $12,000 to $15,000 trade, and that's what I was looking for. But hey, when you get greedy, that's often when the market comes back and taps you on your ass a little bit and say, "Hey, look, don't get too happy, buddy." And that's kind of what happened today. But we'll see. I'm still holding it. We'll see what it's going to look like tomorrow. But we locked in 865.12 tonight. I know we're in a sea of red here, but those two attempts on Microsoft only cost me 200 bucks. So trusting the technicals, reading the chart, kept me from losing a ton of money. This is what's going to hurt if this doesn't come back where it needs to be. I can't force it. I'm just going to sit back. If it doesn't make it, then I have to make that tough decision and eat it. But, you never know. Tomorrow's a new day, and we'll be moving on from that. So I hope you guys have a great night, a great evening, and we'll get back at this thing first thing in the morning, see if we can finish this week strong.